What's up guys, Formula News here, and here's what's in this episode. First up, Mercedes target Vettel after Ferrari departure. Mercedes are considering partnering Sebastian Vettel with Lewis Hamilton in what would be the most decorated lineup in F1 history. The possibility of the pair, who have 10 championship titles combined, racing together came about after Tuesday's announcement that Vettel would be leaving Ferrari at the end of the year, starting a huge driver shakeup. There is even the remote chance of Hamilton seizing on the flux to land a seat at Ferrari. However, it is far more likely that Vettel's place will be taken by Carlos Sainz of McLaren, with Daniel Ricciardo then going from Renault to replace the Spaniard. And while it is unclear for the moment whether Vettel will retire at the end of the year or seek a final contract elsewhere, he is firmly on Mercedes' radar as an alternative to Valtteri Bottas. Despite 14 wins, their dream failed to materialize, his performances increasingly scratchy compared to the serenity of his titles in a dominant Red Bull between 2010 and 2013. The errors mounted up, his confidence seemingly shot. He arguably should have won the title in 2017 and 2018. He may have other options for 2021. As well as Mercedes, there is interest from Racing Point or Aston Martin. Renault is another possibility, McLaren less so, since Ricciardo seems to be the first priority for the Woking-based squad. As for Hamilton and the Ferrari link, the thread is thin. The Scuderia have signaled their intention to back Leclerc by signing him up over the winter on a 5-year contract that retains him until 2024. Unimaginatively, they want Sainz, decent but not a star driver, as a number 2 in the style of Rubens Barrichello. Sainz will come relatively cheap at a salary less than 10 million euros, minimally a third of what they would have to pay Hamilton. The 6-time world champion's Mercedes contract is due for renewal at the end of the season, but talks have paused while coronavirus lurks. Next, Carlos Sainz heading to Ferrari. Published reports say that McLaren driver Carlos Sainz will fill the vacant seat at Ferrari that will open up when Sebastian Vettel leaves the prancing horse at the end of this year. Sainz would be a good choice, since he's only 25 years old and has 102 Grand Prix starts. Granted, in those 102 starts, he has only one podium, but you can blame the struggling teams he has driven for in those 5 years, first Toro Rosso, then McLaren. In all, Sainz has scored 267 points. He entered Formula 1 paired with Max Verstappen at Toro Rosso before switching to McLaren, where he consistently outperformed teammate Lando Norris. It's a good move for Ferrari, financially too, since Sainz will cost nothing near the $41 to $45 million salary that Vettel got for driving last year. Whether Vettel would be interested in the new opening at McLaren is an unknown. His salary would go down for sure, as would his chances of gaining a 5th F1 crown. Next up, Mercedes refused to supply engines in Australia. Horner was eager for the race in Melbourne in mid-March to go ahead despite a McLaren team member testing positive for COVID-19, with the team deciding to withdraw. Although the initial consensus amongst the teams at the time was for the event to continue, Horner has revealed it was Mercedes who had a change of heart, not only opting to pull out but also refusing to supply engines to Williams and Racing Point. Horner, speaking in a new column on the Red Bull website, has explained the circumstances behind the furor that led to F1 being criticized for its attempt to continue in the face of a global pandemic. Mercedes forced its customer teams to vote no to an Australian Grand Prix as they would not supply engines, revealed Christian Horner. Although Formula 1 headed to Australia for what would have been the season opening race, the Grand Prix was thrown into turmoil when McLaren withdrew after a positive test for one team member. The rest of the field sat down to vote on whether to continue or not. Mercedes Motorsport boss Toto Wolff initially voted yes, but hours later, after speaking to Mercedes' pit bosses over in Germany, changed his vote to no. Speaking about the events and how they played out, Horner confirmed that Red Bull wanted to race or at least go ahead with Friday practice and see how the situation played out. Lastly, Leclerc pays tribute to departing Vettel. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc has praised outgoing teammate Sebastian Vettel, saying that he learned a lot alongside the 4-time world champion. Leclerc spent just one season alongside Sebastian Vettel at Ferrari, having moved to the Scuderia from Alfa Romeo at the end of 2018. Leclerc quickly established himself at the team, with his performances impressive enough to ensure he was able to frequently match or even beat his illustrious teammate. By the end of the season, Leclerc scored 2 victories to Vettel's 1, and the Monegasque won out in the point standings too. With Vettel deciding against continuing with Ferrari after this season, Leclerc now inherits a de facto leadership role at the team as he settles into the next 5 years with the Scuderia. While Leclerc and Vettel never fell out during 2019, there were some serious bumps along the way. A team order argument at the Russian Grand Prix stirred tempers as Vettel was felt to have ignored team instructions, while the pair collided, albeit gently, during the Brazilian Grand Prix and led to both retiring from the race. And that's been today's video. To keep up with Formula 1 news, please hit that like and subscribe button to support me. Apart from that, I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you have an awesome day, and until next time, goodbye.